Far from the hum of city streets, ancient forests quietly breathe in their own secret rhythm. Beneath dark canopies and velvet moss, some trees have watched the world change for thousands of years. Tonight, let's gently follow their roots and branches, exploring small wonders that drift, unhurried, just like the wind through old growth. Settle back as the mysteries of forests and ancient trees begin to softly unfold around you. As you get comfortable, imagine yourself slowly wandering through the deep hush of an old forest. Somewhere overhead, branches knit together, filtering the faintest strands of silvery dusk. Below your feet, roots weave stories older than any written word, tracing beneath ancient stones. Forests like these cover roughly a third of the land on Earth, quietly shaping life for millions of years. Their hush is full of science and history, a soft-hearted grandeur echoing through rings and leaves, hollow logs and dappled shadows. As you listen, you'll discover why certain forests feel timeless, how some trees have become natural record keepers, and which secret lives unfold quietly among their trunks. Let your breathing slow, your thoughts branch outward, as we begin our slow journey into the gentle world of forests and ancient trees, where age is measured not in hours or days, but in centuries and calm. Before we drift off, a quiet note: if these journeys help you sleep, subscribing is a gentle way to keep them coming. Now, settle in, let your eyes grow heavy, and let's begin. Somewhere far from roads and wires, the White Mountains of California cradle a handful of trees that quietly surpass almost everything else in age. The bristlecone pine, Pinus longiva, can live for more than 800 years, older than the pyramids, and older than the written histories of most civilizations. In this cold, high place, the air is dry, the soil is thin, and the winds are steady. The bristlecones have endured by growing slowly. Their twisted shapes, shaped not by force, but by patience. With thick, reddish bark and limbs weathered by centuries of snow and sunlight, these bristlecone pines store each passing year inside themselves. Scientists can carefully read their tree rings like the pages of ancient diaries, rings that record not just age, but droughts, fires, even long-forgotten weather. As you rest, imagine a living thing holding within itself all the gentle stories of 4,000 winters and summers, quietly bearing witness while the world around it changes and changes again. Few things on Earth have outlasted these steady, slow-growing trees. Landscape and seasons drift past, but the bristlecone pine persists, its patience forming a kind of strength. And when a tree, after millennia, finally returns to the soil, its wood is so dense and resin-rich that it resists decay for centuries more, outlasting even its own life. Even now, their silent shadows mark time in the cold mountain dusk. Stranger still, across the old forests of Scandinavia, a spruce tree named Old Tjikko stretches above the cold earth of Sweden. Its trunk has lived for only a few centuries, but beneath it, the root system is roughly 500 years old, a silent network persisting since the last ice age. The visible tree above ground is just the current chapter of something much older, quietly regrowing itself when storms or deep snows break its branches. Unlike bristlecones, this spruce survives by renewing itself from ancient roots, sending up new trunks as needed through the endless flow of time. Scientists believe this method, called clonal growth, helps the tree endure long, cold centuries. So beneath the green needles, An entire history lies hidden, coiled gently in the earth, connecting past winters to the present breeze. The tree standing in moonlight is just one breath in a story almost 10 millennia long. Pause here, listening for the quiet logic of survival. A single root system adapting, drawing up water and memory through stones unchanged since the world's last glacier retreated. Old Tjikko's resilience is not about soaring high or growing fast, but about persistence, soft, continuous, and as unassuming as moss. Somewhere right now, it cradles dawn in silence. Traveling south to the primeval redwood forests, the coast redwoods of California rise through the mist in near silence. These trees are not the world's oldest, but they are its tallest, growing well over 350 feet, their crowns vanishing into the low clouds. Some have watched centuries pass, with trunks so wide it takes a dozen people, arms outstretched, to encircle them. Within, the redwoods create their own climate. Fog condenses on their needles, then drips steadily to the forest floor, watering plants and ferns below. The tallest among these giants, named Hyperion by scientists, remains hidden in the forest's wildest pocket. Its precise location is kept secret, allowing it to remain quietly among the untouched leaves and ancient rains. On quiet mornings, sunlight laces through these groves in long slanting beams. The ground is carpeted with reddish needles, softening every step. High above, redwoods are home to salamanders, birds, and even small ferns rooting in their massive limbs. Each tree stands both apart and together, a gentle community holding up the sky, echoing the pulse of centuries. As night draws in, consider the Amazon rainforest, a place so deeply green and mysterious, no one can say exactly how many species live under its emerald hush. Scientists believe more than 390 billion trees grow here, forming thousands of different species. Each one breathes in carbon dioxide and releases oxygen, their leaves fluttering like a million gentle fans. Few people realize that roughly 1/5 of the world's oxygen comes from rainforests like the Amazon. While most oxygen is created in ocean plankton, forest air is rich, moist, and thick with the scent of growing things. Each day, the forest quietly exhales, refreshing the air over continents and drifting far beyond its leafy borders. The Amazon's shade is so dense that less than 2% of sunlight ever reaches the forest floor. Down below, countless seeds sprout and reach for the dim glow, while up above, orchids and bromeliads anchor to the branches, sipping water from rain and dew. The forest is a living, layered puzzle, every corner a small, enveloping world. Somewhere in the boreal forests of Canada and Russia, another ancient community stretches on, woven mostly of black spruce, birch, and pine. This is Earth's largest forested region, sometimes called the Taiga. Here, winters last for months, gentle drifts of snow muffling every sound, as trees lean quietly through cold winds and softening twilight. Within these silent woods, fallen needles and leaves pile up year after year. The cool ground preserves layers of slowly decomposing plant life, known as peat, which can lock away carbon for thousands of years. The forest acts as a gentle, living archive, storing not only the sighs of each passing autumn, but the memory of ancient climates. Few people ever notice that some of these trees will sprout not just from seed, but from fallen branches and even buried cones, coaxed to grow by the low warmth of spring. In this way, life in the taiga finds quiet renewal, even after the coldest, longest nights fade away. Each dawn is a patient beginning. It's easy to forget that all forests, in their own rhythms, serve as living clocks. Some ancient oaks still growing in the English countryside began as saplings before the first cathedrals rose. Many of the oldest are more than 1,000 years old, their gnarled branches bearing silent witness to the passing centuries. In oak wood, time moves not in quick leaps, but patiently, marked by slow, sturdy growth and deep, spreading roots. Generations of birds nest under their leaves. Slow waves of wildflowers come and go each spring. These trees are more than just shade, more than timber. They are landmarks for memory, threading together stories and seasons. Consider for a moment that oak trees have played soft roles in the legends, songs, and folk tales of many cultures. Their wood has sheltered travelers, framed the beams of old sailing ships, and quietly shaded poets as they wrote. As the world hums past, the oak stands still, learning patience in its own cool shadow. Drifting to Australia, odd forests of eucalyptus shimmer in the hot dusk. Some of these trees release tiny oils that hang in the air, catching sunlight and creating a blue haze on the horizon. Scientists have learned that eucalyptus forests help shape their own hazy skies without a sound, as if weaving the light into gentle tapestries overhead. Eucalyptus leaves, long and silver green, shift slowly even in the dimmest breeze. The oils they produce make the air rich, giving these forests their distinct, calming scent. The soft aroma floats where clouds and leaves meet, real, though almost dreamlike on the edges of heat and shadow. Somewhere beneath this cool blue mist, koalas drift from tree to tree in search of just the right leaves. Eucalyptus trees serve as both food and shelter for countless Australian creatures, their branches arching high above the shadowy forest floor. This living maze stretches on, quietly tending its own unique corner of the world. From a different corner of the world, forests can whisper memories of fire as well as rain. In the long-lived groves of giant sequoias in California's Sierra Nevada, the oldest trees reach nearly 200 years. Yet these giants depend on gentle ground fires to clear brush and open their cones, allowing new seeds to reach the soil. In the thick bark of a sequoia, scars from ancient fires can still be seen, smooth and dark against the red wood. This bark insulates the heart of the tree, letting it survive heat that would fell almost any other living thing. The fire, in its quietest and smallest form, becomes a tool for renewal instead of destruction. Whenever conditions are just right, when the wind is gentle and the flames are low, the cones of giant sequoias slowly open, casting new seeds into the ash-rich earth. Here, fire's story becomes one of patient beginnings instead of sudden ends. Through centuries, sequoias have learned a quiet partnership with both hazard and hope. While you rest, consider one of forest's more invisible wonders: networks of mycorrhizal fungi, sometimes called the wood wide web. Thread-like fungal roots, far too fine to see, connect the underground lives of nearly every tree and plant. Nutrients and chemical signals travel silently through the soil, letting trees communicate in slow, subtle ways. Scientists have watched as older trees share sugars and minerals with younger saplings, and as warning messages about drought or insects pass secretly from root to root. These networks stretch for miles in some cases, connecting whole forests so that each tree is not truly alone, but part of a broader, living conversation. This hidden network softens the edges of solitude, weaving together every seedling and giant, every leaf and stone. While above ground, the woods appear still and silent, below the surface, every inch is touched by the slow, mutual kindness of roots helping roots. Such quiet community may happen with every forest dusk. In the old cloud forests of Central America, trees wear mantles of moss and lichen as cool mist drifts in every night. These rare forests form on high mountain ridges, where air heavy with fog becomes the main source of water. The trees sip the sky here, gathering droplets through their leaves. Even the smallest leaves and needles glisten, holding pearls of cloud water before it drips softly to roots and soil below. Many of the species living in these forests can survive nowhere else on Earth, their fates bound quietly to these mists. It's as if the sky itself is woven into the fabric of every tree. Cloud forests are sometimes so shrouded, sunlight becomes only a pale suggestion. In their cool, blue-green half-light, time slows. Orchids and tiny frogs find shelter in shadows, while above, the canopy cradles dreams in a constant, gentle drizzle. Few places feel as close to the edge of waking and sleep. Shift now to forests where winters are long and silence runs deep. In the mountain valleys of Japan, ancient cedar groves, known as cryptomeria, stand in all weathers, their bark peeling in strips, their forms softened by centuries of drifting snow. Here, trees are often revered as sacred, symbols of calm endurance. Some of these Japanese cedar trees are believed to be more than 1,000 years old. Their wood is fragrant, with patterns that resemble gentle waves even after centuries. Temples in the mountains are often built from this living memory, timbers cut from trees that stood watch for generations. As cherry blossoms come and go, the cedar remains evergreen, marking the quiet passage of time with its steady green needles. Long-lived, quietly beautiful, rooted in old songs and the hush of snow, these groves cradle more than wood. They hold a sense of patience and peace that stretches beyond memory. Not all ancient forests are deep green. In Africa's arid corners, stretches of baobab trees mark the horizon, their massive trunks pale in starlight. Some baobabs are roughly 500 years old, swelling with rainwater in the wet season, then gently releasing it through the dry. The baobab's hollow, bottle-shaped trunk can store thousands of liters of water, helping it survive in places where rain might fall only once in months. In their shade, animals and people gather, drawn by the promise of life quietly stored away. Their roots stretch deep, holding hidden reservoirs while the world bakes softly overhead. While their branches look like roots reaching upward, the baobab stands as both anchor and witness to the slow drift of desert seasons. Through winds and sun, the baobab endures, unhurried, even in the lightest breath of air. Its patience is carved into wood, water, sky, and memory. Some forests, like those covering parts of Madagascar, drift into fantastical shapes. Here, spiny forests grow from soil that is bright and red, their trees full of rare, twisting forms. Many of these trees live nowhere else. Lemurs and chameleons travel these shadowy places, traipsing between moon-bleached trunks and night flowers that open only in the cool dark. Madagascar's ancient trees, like the endangered baobabs and didiria, have evolved shapes and secrets that puzzle even botanists. Their bark can swell and shrink, leaves unfurl in rare rains, and flowers bloom for a single breathless dusk. In these forests, time feels measured in tiny, silent threads of adaptation, memories written not in ink, but in bark. While you barely stir, imagine a forest that is so old and undisturbed that its soil holds the remains of plants and animals from before recorded history. The Valdivian temperate rainforests of Chile and Argentina host trees like the alerce, some over 600 years old. Their trunks gather moss, their roots wind beneath stones cool with ancient rain. The alerce's wood is pale, fragrant, and valued for its calm longevity. Many alerce trees live in protected, almost primeval quiet, where footfalls are rare and the soft sound of rain on needles is the loudest music. These forests have survived ice ages and long, patient spells of waiting, their calm presence almost unchanged by time's sweep. Each alerce seems to gather the cooled memories of Earth itself, a living monument to the ancient southern hush. While you sink deeper into comfort, imagine the rain sliding down bark that has greeted more than 3 millennia of mornings. Time here is slow as sleep. Greater still than any one tree is the truth that forests never sleep. Even in the hours before dawn, unseen lives turn gently among the leaves. Bats drift home under mossy eaves, while tiny insects trace luminous trails across the bark. Every forest hosts uncounted living stories, twining from root to canopy. The night's air is thick with quiet industry, moths soft against ferns, tree frogs breathing in the cool, and hidden mammals moving where the leaf litter falls thickest. Though mostly unnoticed, every tree shelters more than just branches or birds. A whole world travels its length unseen, wrapped in the hush of night. In these hours, tree rings are being drawn in slow motion, roots extend by inches in the dark, and somewhere, a new cone or bud is quietly forming, preparing for the coming of light. Forest life, though rarely hurried, never truly rests. It simply turns in softly luminous cycles, year after patient year. Few realize that certain forest trees have adapted to their own gentle clocks. The rain tree of Central America, for instance, responds to dusk by folding its tiny leaflets as though tucking itself in for sleep. At first, Local people believed these trees could summon rain, so close was their nightly ritual to the arrival of clouds. In truth, the folding is an ancient evolutionary trick called nyctinesti, movement guided by changes in light and humidity. It conserves moisture and deters nighttime herbivores, all while the tree moves almost imperceptibly in the cool of evening. The forest, at rest, is never truly still. Somewhere else, the pale bark of birch trees catches moonlight better than most. In northern forests, these graceful trunks shine against deepening shadows, guiding travelers and animals alike in the soft dark. Birch has been a symbol in many cultures, standing for new beginnings, renewal, and quiet endurance. Peeling like parchment, birch bark holds oils that make it long-lasting and waterproof. Even centuries-old trees carry scars in their pale skin, records of fires, storms, and slow returns to spring. Through snow and sun, birch stands as a gentle marker of change, tree rings circling the heart of memory without a single word. Sleeping beneath old forests, you can almost sense what scientists believe. During the warmest days, even the oldest trees quietly cool themselves. Some species release water vapor through their leaves, a process known as transpiration, creating soft currents in the air, woody breaths that shape the feel of entire landscapes. This gentle release of water vapor helps in small ways to cool the air above forests, soothing the heat for birds, animals, and even wandering travelers. Like a slow exhalation, forests breathe out comfort, layered and endless, even when no one is awake to notice. An entire ecosystem, quietly sheltering under a living sky. As you listen, imagine now the slow pulse of sap, the deep sigh of the earth beneath roots. Each tree, in its own way, weaves itself into the climate, mood, and memory of the world. All around, forests hum along at the quietest frequency, their stories stretching softly, leaf to leaf, dusk to dawn. Old forests shape their own weather quietly, the breath of countless leaves drifting upward to meet layers of cool air above. This gentle, invisible channel of moisture is called transpiration, a slow movement that quietly builds clouds, softening sunshine by day and sheltering dew at night. The deeper you imagine yourself beneath those canopies, the more you sense that the entire forest is a breathing, swirling presence, exchanging traces of itself with the roaming sky. Undisturbed forest floors cradle undisturbed layers, where time accumulates in fallen needles, slow moss, and the careful unfolding of ferns. These layers are an archive, holding centuries of rainfall, the memory of ancient fires, and the slow drift of pollen, all pressed down in a gentle darkness. With each step, roots and threads of fungus quietly weave nutrients between trees, making the old forest a patient, living bridge between past and future. Somewhere within shadowed woods, roots reach outward in quiet conversation. Scientists have found that certain trees exchange not only nutrients, but also chemical signals through their roots and fungal partners. This slow, silent networking lets trees warn neighbors of drought, share sugar with saplings, and in a subtle way, foster the health of the entire forest. The ground beneath is always softly alive, with messages no ear can hear. There is comfort in the knowledge that forests measure time differently. where human calendars count years and seasons, ancient trees like the giant alurs or bristlecone pines simply grow, adding faint, narrow rings. These silent records hold the memory of good summers and lean ones, each subtle line a whisper of warmth or hardship, felt by wood and recorded with infinite patience beneath bark. Where forests remain unbroken, there are places so quiet that you can sense the presence of night creatures by the smallest movements. A vole among the leaf litter, a tawny owl low above the understory. Silence in old woods is never empty. It is filled with the soft tap of beetle wings, the faint shifting of lichen, the secret labors of life continuing even as you rest. Listen for the hush that gathers in groves of ancient trees, because the oldest individuals are able to withstand centuries of wind and ice. Their bark thickens, their wood hardens, and within the twists and crevices, tiny islands of moss and lichen take hold. With every year, these living sentinels become whole ecosystems, holding up small worlds even as they stand in one place, unhurried and steadfast. In the dim green of an old forest, even light moves slowly. Filtered sun falls in pale beams and pools on dark leaves. Chlorophyll quietly turns this mild gift into food, releasing tiny pulses of oxygen back to the air. And stranger still, even at night, these same leaves continue to breathe quietly, exchanging gases and shaping the gentle chemistry of night air in ways too soft for the senses. While you settle in, consider that beneath every ancient forest, layers of soil have been held in place by roots for centuries. These woven networks steady rainwater, cool the ground, and prevent rivers from becoming muddy and wild with every storm. Because of this gentle anchoring, forests calm the very land they rise from, holding chaos at bay long after dark. High in the canopy, mosses and lichens trace velvety patterns on ancient limbs, their roots neither greedy nor deep, just delicate enough to gather moisture from the mist. These quiet companions thrive for decades, sometimes centuries, tending their tiny ecosystems on the slow-growing bark. The air up here stays cool and damp, wrapped around each branch like a silken shroud, and when dusk settles, the trees take on a gentle shimmer, softened by the greenish luminescence of living tapestries that only few eyes ever see. Further down, the forest floor lies hidden beneath years of fallen needles and leaves, softly muting every footstep. Here, shades of brown and deep green mingle in a gentle mosaic as beetles, fungi, and unseen threads of mycelium join in silent labor. Each fallen branch, each patch of softened mulch, is slowly turned by patient life into the soil that cradles new roots. This recycling is gradual, unbreaking, a silent promise that nothing in the old forest is ever truly lost. In some forests, trunks stand hollowed by long-ago lightning or slow decay, their hearts patiently rotted away. These cathedral-like chambers shelter owls, insects, even resting deer, all nourished by the shade and the hush of ancient wood. Sunlight filters in narrow beams, touching only dust motes and the slow drape of moss. Inside these quiet hollows, the cool stillness recalls thousands of dawns and dusks that have slipped softly past their bark. When fog drifts between the trunks at dawn, trees capture droplets on every needle and leaf, letting them fall in a faint, quiet rain long after the skies have cleared. This gentle shower soaks the roots and feeds hidden groundwater, a second rainfall that can last for hours on the stillest mornings. The forest's patience stretches through these cycles, tending each drop until it finds its place deep in the Earth's dark reservoir. Deep in undisturbed woodlands, rain tumbles down through dense layers of leaves, slowing to gentle drips that trace the rough skin of centuries-old bark. With each rainfall, these ancient forests quietly filter and soften the water, allowing it to trickle, clean and recharged, into the earth beneath. Over the course of generations, this slow cycle helps keep rivers and streams cool, nourishing nearby meadows and feeding creatures that rely on pure, steady flows. Each drop winding its way through deep shadows is shaped by the patience of trees that have watched over this process longer than any human memory records. Underground, long roots and fine fungal threads craft silent alliances, weaving through the soil in a hidden communion. Scientists call this intricate web the mycorrhizal network, a living tapestry where ancient trees and younger saplings quietly exchange nourishment and warning signals. In these old forests, elders shelter the young by passing water and nutrients beneath the surface, invisibly shaping how the next generation grows. The hush of the forest above is mirrored by these slow, unseen conversations in darkness below. Where undisturbed forests endure, even fallen trunks are gently transformed. Left where they lie, these silent giants slowly surrender their strength to the countless lives that feed and nest within softened wood. Mosses, beetles, and mushrooms share in the gradual return to earth, blurring the line between living tree and forest floor. Some logs decay so slowly that time seems almost paused, offering more than a century of quiet shelter in a single fallen trunk. The steady cadence of this return shapes entire small worlds, almost unnoticed by the waking mind. At certain times, a faint, earthy sweetness rises where forest and mist slip together. Scientists have learned that some of this scent, called petrature, comes from oils shed by leaves and soil-dwelling microbes, released only when soft rains stir them from their slumber. In truly ancient groves, this aroma drifts through the undergrowth, linking today's gentle weather with decades of growing roots, falling needles, and quiet decay. It is an old fragrance, marking the presence of patient cycles repeating without hurry, night after night. Tonight you've wandered beneath the spread of the world's forests, tracing old stories through moss, roots, and rain. Wherever you find yourself, whether close to woods or drifting in memory, may the ancient patience of trees linger with you, softening each moment as you slip towards sleep. The forests keep time for us, holding the steady pulse of the earth through countless seasons and quiet ages. As you rest, remember that beneath every woodland hush, a silent web sustains life, sustains hope, and gently welcomes the dark. Let the slow music of forest and leaf settle into your dreams and drift onward, surrounded by the oldest living wonders on our planet. If these soft journeys through forests and ancient trees have calmed your night, you're welcome to subscribe for more gentle wonders anytime. Let your thoughts drift and return whenever you wish to wander quietly again.